acknowledge your tribal chief, your unified WWE and Universal Champion. It is the WrestleMania 38 review right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the WrestleMania 38 review. The most stupendous tonight WrestleMania in history. My name is Money Mike, and damn WWE. Why can't you put on shows like this every single week, every Raw, SmackDown, premium live event? Like, seriously, I just want to get this out of the way because I'm still excited. I'm still excited because WrestleMania 38 absolutely killed it. I don't really think there was any duds. I mean, I didn't really care too much about Kofi and Xavier against Sheamus and Rich Holland, even though I did like the touch and tribute from Kofi and Woods with their gear as a tribute to Big E. But outside of that, I got the WrestleMania card up here on my screen. I'm going to get to that here. So, where do we begin? Night 1 of WrestleMania. So, it started off kind of on a little bit of a sad note. The Usos versus Nakamura, Rick Boogs. They got to do the whole big grand entrance there with Rick Boogs doing his usual guitar thing. That was cool to see at WrestleMania. And then Nakamura coming out, the Usos coming out, and then there was this spot in the match where everything kind of changed because it seemed like the match wasn't able to hit that second point, to that second level. Because Rick Boogs went to do a press, or I guess he tried to lift up both Usos, and his knee actually legitimately gave out. WWE had been selling the storyline that essentially, the storyline that he had a knee injury. But unfortunately, he did suffer a legit injury and was not in the match for the rest of the night. So they had to call an audible. Such a shame because I think we could have gotten a really good tag match between those four. And hopefully, and just hopeful for a speedy recovery to Rick Boogs. And we'll get to see him play that guitar the way he does. Second match of the night on night 1, Drew McIntyre versus the Happy Folks, Baron, Happy Corbin. There's still part of me that misses broke Baron Corbin. And honestly, I think Baron Corbin is going to be, when he's done wrestling, he's going to be really underrated. I think people are going to look back and see that he was really underrated as a heel. For Corbin to have so much range in his character over these last couple years, where he was like the Raw GM and in charge, and then to play the broke gimmick, and then now he's playing this happy-go-lucky guy, happy person that got lucky at Vegas and, won, struck it rich, and, he's played this so well. And we all knew what was going to happen here. Drew McIntyre won. Um, Very cool at the end, though. Drew McIntyre slashing the ropes. It looked like it was going to be close enough to do it to the third rope, almost. But very cool ending there. Hats off to Baron Corbin. I mean, again, I'm not fond of the Happy Corbin character, and that's just because I think WWE left so much on the table with the broke gimmick. But again, I think Drew McIntyre just needs a better WrestleMania opponent. That's for next year in LA. The Miz, Logan Paul defeated Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. Very surprising here. Yeah, it's a given when celebrities are involved that they're going to win. And I'll get into that more when I talk about Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville. But it's one of those things where, Logan Paul, who is a heel, you think, okay, maybe this is actually the one time a celebrity is going to lose because he's with the heel or because he's a heel. But no, The Miz, he hits the skull crushing finale on Rey Mysterio, gets the win. Logan Paul, I was quite impressed. I'm not really fond of celebrities that come into wrestling. I understand why, the mainstream appeal, and all of that. But like celebrities that come in, last year was Bad Bunny. This year we had Logan Paul, Johnny Knoxville. But the celebrities that come in and actually respect the business, respect pro wrestling, and are willing to actually, go through, take bumps, learn how to, wrestle, things like that. Those are the celebrities that I'm like, you know what? I have no problem with showing up. Miz hitting a skull-crushing finale on Logan Paul at the end. I mean, are we going to see more Logan Paul? Maybe. Is this a face turn for The Miz? I mean, the fans popped when Miz hit a skull-crushing finale on Logan Paul. So, I mean, look, my voice is my voice is already raspy from these 2 nights of WrestleMania, so bear with me here. So, what probably was the match of the night was Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch. The second year in a row, Bianca Belair has stolen the show with a member of the 4 Horsewomen. Last year, it was Sasha Banks. This year, it was Big Time Bex. And listen, everybody on the internet, listen, I was there at SummerSlam. I was there at SummerSlam in Las Vegas when Becky Lynch made her return. I was pumped. I was excited. The fans were excited. And when Becky beat Bianca in 26 seconds, I can honestly sit here and tell you that it sucked the air right out of the stadium because nobody knew how to really feel about it. Because we were happy to see Becky back, but at the same time, we didn't want Bianca to lose the title. And in one of the rare occasions where WWE, where it's, wait and see how it plays out. You know what? It came through. WWE came through with it. The whole wait and see how it plays out. And Bianca got her revenge in what was a great match. Both Becky and Bianca had incredible entrances. I love the graphic with Becky, where it was showcasing all of her different highlights throughout the years. Bianca having the marching band entrance, that was cool. The match overall was great. Becky, rocking that short hair. I, I gotta wonder if this is going to lead to a hair versus hair match. Because, I mean, Becky got her hair cut off, and then Bianca has her braid. So it'd be kind of interesting if WWE does want to do one more match between Becky and Bianca at WrestleMania Backlash, and it's a hair versus hair match. At least that's from what I'm getting watching on TV. That's what it seems like. That's all I'm saying. But then, what was this? Man, I don't know. Second, I want to say second because I still think, I don't know, maybe the best match of the night, A, was Becky and Bianca. Match of the night, B, was Seth freaking Rollins against, and it, for weeks on end, we were going to sit there and we were wondering, who is Seth Rollins going to face? And Seth Rollins, he had a meeting with Mr. McMahon. Mr. McMahon said, hey, you should have just came to me and I would have gave you a match. And he said he was going to handpick his opponent. And as the fans in Dallas, Texas were filled with adrenaline in their soul, we waited to see the lights went out, the pyro. Was it The Fiend? Was it going to be The Undertaker, who said never say never at his Hall of Fame speech? No. It was Cody Rhodes. WWE. This gave me hope that one day when Chris Jericho comes back to WWE, that they're going to let him have Judas as his theme song. I mean, WWE went all out. They gave him Kingdom, the entrance. He came out from underneath the stage. I mean, I'm going to be dead honest. Cody Rhodes looked like a major star on Saturday night, more than he ever did in AEW. And I gotta tell you, now props to WWE production team. WWE, they know how to make a star. They know how to make someone look like a star. And Cody Rhodes on Saturday night, in his entrance alone, looked like a major star. Cody versus Seth Rollins. We know Cody and Seth has their history with the Rhodes brothers versus the Shield from a couple years, from like 2013, 2014, something like that. So we know there's history with Cody and Seth that WWE can build off of for WrestleMania Backlash, potentially, if that's what they want to do. But, man, Cody coming in as the American Nightmare against Seth Rollins match. Like I said, if it wasn't for Becky and Bianca, this probably would have been match of the night. But to me, Cody Rhodes with the win, I love it. Because I think maybe this is WWE saying, you know what? They're going to make up for Cody. Because Cody Rhodes, the irony in the fact that AEW, literally, Cody Rhodes left WWE because they wouldn't let him out of being Stardust. They wanted to continue him being Stardust. They had no interest in him being Cody Rhodes. So he left WWE and he went, and this reminds me of Drew McIntyre. When Drew McIntyre came back, obviously Drew spent some time in NXT, but this reminds me of Drew McIntyre coming back. You know, Drew McIntyre spent a couple years on the Indies making a name for himself. He rebuilt his reputation, and WWE said, "Hey, Drew, come on back." And I think those are the vibes I'm getting from WWE bringing back Cody Rhodes. You know I don't know how he would be booked or how he should be booked. I mean, if there's only going to be one champion going forward, man, I don't know. And I mean, like if they weren't doing this whole unification thing, which I'll talk a little bit more about later, but man, you could easily have Cody be one champion while Roman was the other champion, but I don't know. We'll see. Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey. I felt sorry for these two because they have to follow Becky and Bianca and then a returning Cody Rhodes. Like, I'm not sure how you follow that. Ronda and Charlotte, it was a better match than I expected. And I had low expectations because I didn't really want to see Charlotte versus Ronda. You know, obviously Ronda versus Becky was the match everyone wanted. But, man, I have to wonder. Leave a comment below. Has the aura that about Ronda Rousey and WWE, has that worn out to anybody? Because, I don't know, maybe it just seems like Ronda doesn't seem as excited as, I don't know, on screen it doesn't seem like Ronda, I don't know, there's just something missing for me. You know, there's something missing with Ronda where I'm like, you know what, I'm happy they didn't have Charlotte lose because I don't think we're ready for that yet. I don't think Ronda's ready for it. So, I was listening to Steve from WrestleJuice, and one of the things he brought up was, with the way things are, with the talent, the talent on the roster in the women's division, there's plenty more talent there that can go in and beat Charlotte instead of Ronda. So, for me, the match was alright. I was surprised Charlotte didn't get a grand entrance because it was WrestleMania, but, to me, the match was better than I thought it was going to be, but the finish just fell a little flat. The main event, the KO show, Kevin Owens, Stone Cold Steve Austin. So it started out with some trash talking. Kevin Owens didn't like Texas, blah, all this stuff they've been doing for weeks. But Austin said, I had my first match in Dallas. Said, why can't I have my last match in Dallas? Give me a Steve Weiser, give me a beer. We got the old Stone Cold. We got the old Stone Cold, as Mr. McMahon once said. And Stone Cold said, you asked us if we wanted to see him face Kevin Owens. And we all said, hell yeah. And we had a ref. And Stone Cold Steve Austin must have been inspired by Sting. Because Steve Austin went out there, gave us a 15-minute match. All these years later, after not being in the ring for so long, he went out there. He's taking bumps on the concrete. And, the match itself, it wasn't exactly a squash match. Kevin Owens, Stone Cold Steve Austin, they went out, they fought in the crowd, fought on the entranceway. It was a full-blown match that Stone Cold Steve Austin gave us all these years later, and just absolutely incredible. Just absolutely incredible. I loved it. I was skeptical of this because I thought, oh, well, if this is just a talk segment, maybe we should have had Cody versus Seth be the main event or something. Because I was thinking, like, if this is just going to be a talk show, I think for WWE, from WWE's perspective, if you would have had Cody versus Seth in the main event, with Cody standing tall being your closing shot of WrestleMania Night 1, I thought that would have been perfect. But from what we got from Austin, KO, I mean, Austin did more than what Goldberg has done in his entire return since 2016. So, you know what? I will take that. Thank you, Stone Cold, coming out in retirement. That was a fun match. That is how superstars do it. Now, night two, we kicked things off with Triple H. He came out. He thanked the fans. He left his wrestling boots in the ring. This follows his retirement from following his interview with Stephen A. Smith. I just want to, and it's a shame for me because I'm still can't process that Triple H is retiring. He has a defibrillator now in his heart, and as some, for me, I have a pacemaker, so I kind of know what he went through with the surgery, and so, and for me, it's like, man, the fact that he said that there was plans for him to wrestle at WrestleMania kind of makes me wonder if maybe Triple H versus Cody Rhodes was maybe in the books, at least until Triple H had the surgery back in September, but, until everything happened, but which is quite scary to think about because we just lost Scott Hall. And, if we would have lost Triple H last year and then Scott Hall, losing the fact that we almost lost 2 Click members so close together, that would have been a heartbreaker. So, night 1 begins RK Bro versus the Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable, and Otis. So, here, once again, it's your standard match. You get a lot of, everybody gets their stuff in. Absolutely incredible. Montez Ford is a future single star in the making. He has star written all over him. But please, WWE, just do what you did with the New Day. Just have Montez keep the Street Profits together while Montez has a singles run. Please. No heel turn, no heel turn on Angelo Dawkins, but Montez Ford is a future star in the making for WWE. This match was absolutely incredible, start to finish, and for me, it was kind of what it was. Thankfully, WWE did not pull the plug. They did not end RK Bro. RK Bro is one of the best storylines going right now in WWE next to the Bloodline. So I'm glad that RK Bro is still the tag team champions. Bobby Lashley and Omos. So, yeah, I'm going to be honest. I wasn't really feeling this match. I mean, I get what they were doing. They won almost on the show, but to me, I mean, Bobby Lashley made it work. He took some bumps for Omos with the win. So now where does Lashley go from here? We'll have to see. So here's so as I said, I normally don't like celebrities, showing up, and because usually they're just there to promote whatever they're there to promote, and then that's it. They don't care about anything else. Johnny Knox, the anything goes that fits, anything goes stipulation. It fits with Jackass, and all the things that Johnny Knoxville has made a living off of. And I knew Sami Zayn was going to bump for him, make him look good. They were able to incorporate a lot of things from Jackass. Wee Man came in. Wee Man body slammed Sami Zayn. Wee Man then took a vicious boot to the face. In the finish of the match, at one point there was a table full of mouse traps, and the finish of it was a fun, entertaining match. I know there's a lot of people like me that don't care too much about the celebrities like Johnny Knoxville, Logan Paul, Bad Bunny, but yeah, you have celebrities that just come in, promote whatever they're there to promote. But when you have celebrities that like Bad Bunny, you have celebrities like Logan Paul, and Johnny Knoxville come in and respect the business of pro wrestling and are willing to work within the confines of wrestling and do bumps and train to put on a show and entertain us as fans. Then I will give my respect to those celebrities that do. This match was a lot of fun. But second year in a row, Sami Zayn has been involved in a celebrity feud. Can we please get Sami Zayn out of these celebrity feuds and get him into the Intercontinental title picture again, or please. Fatal 4-way women's tag team titles. Now I've had a lot. Now there's been look, there's a lot of complaints that you can do and say, WWE ever since they introduced these belts has not cared about these belts. They're not booked. The champions are mostly people they just randomly pair together. But man, the match tonight: Sasha, Naomi, Queen Zelina, Carmella, Rhea, Liv, Natalya, Shayna. The women's division in the WWE right now is still far none the best out there right now. The incredible depth that WWE has in the women's division is quite insane. The only thing they're missing right now is the lack of creative and good storytelling, because to me, the women's division in WWE can be so good. But the problem is that they only focus on so much little people. Yes, Becky, Charlotte, Sasha, Bayley, Asuka, then Ronda Rousey. But it seems as if the WWE only puts a little spotlight on certain women. And then you have this roster a deep roster that gets forgotten about. And tonight in that fatal 4-way, it kind of showed, these 8 women were able to go out there and show that, They all deserve better booking. Sasha, Naomi, they get the win. Sasha Banks gets her first WrestleMania win. Sasha Banks was winless at WrestleMania heading into tonight. So technically, she still doesn't have a singles win at WrestleMania, which is a good storyline that they can play up for next year. But I think this is a good role for her. I think, in the tag division with Naomi needed some kind of payoff to the never-ending thing with Sonya Deville. So good on both of them. But man, there's still part of me that wants to see Naomi in the bloodline, but we'll see. The dream match: Edge and AJ Styles. Over a decade in the making. AJ Styles. Edge was retired by the time that AJ came to WWE. AJ Styles' first WrestleMania was in Dallas, Texas at WrestleMania 32. And now these two are colliding in it. And what an entrance by Edge. Absolutely incredible. This new character for Edge is going to be interesting to watch and see how it unfolds and where they go from here. Styles, Edge, they put on the match that I think we all thought they would. And then the ending of the match, Damian Priest came out. He stood there, but it was long enough to distract AJ Styles, and that allowed Edge to hit a mid-air spear on Styles for the win. And I don't know where this is going, but Edge leading a faction, I'm all for it. And given the fact that Damian Priest has been feuding with Finn Balor, WWE, give me Finn Balor and AJ Styles versus Edge, Damian Priest at WrestleMania Backlash. Hell, I would love to see AJ Styles reform the club as a way to counter Edge's faction. I think that would be kind of cool. But I think Styles and Balor are the only two members of the Bullet Club left in WWE, because I think everyone else got released. But still, Styles, Balor versus Edge and Priest, WrestleMania Backlash. Make it happen, WWE. Like I said, I didn't really care much for Sheamus and Rich Holland versus the New Day. To me, I think you could have made an Intercontinental title match. A ladder match or something, and just combine a couple of these matches, but I just didn't really care for it too much. New Day losing in what was kind of a quick match was interesting. That definitely says that there's going to be another match at the next pay-per-view. Maybe on SmackDown, who knows. But seemed pretty pointless. And that says a lot that the best thing you have for Kofi Kingston, who just won the WWE Championship 3 years ago at WrestleMania 35, is a squash match. I don't know. Like I said, I think you would have just booked an Intercontinental title ladder match. That would have been better. This next match, holy hell. Let me just say something here. The crowd was hyped. They announced 78,000 plus for both nights of WrestleMania. Night 1 had nearly 80,000. Night 2 nearly had 80,000. Absolutely incredible. 2 nights WrestleMania are here to stay. We know it's going to be 2 nights next year in LA. April 1st, April 2nd in LA at SoFi Stadium. But man, oh man, the crowd was absolutely lit. They were hyped for Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. Now, WWE did a big disservice. Now, I understand that a lot of Pat McAfee's matches in NXT were with Adam Cole. His feud in NXT was with Adam Cole. So I get why they can't say or show his NXT matches. But the fact that they didn't show that, hey, Pat McAfee can go in the ring, it was a bit of a disservice because McAfee was able to go. It was incredible. Again, McAfee coming in, not just being an announcer, broadcaster, but to come in and, be able to learn the craft and being a fan himself. He talked about, and, they showed a video package where he talked about, like, it was his dream to wrestle and, to wrestle WrestleMania, and he was able to do that. And McAfee, he beat Austin Theory. Michael Cole there on the announce desk there, cheering Pat McAfee on. It wasn't like, it felt genuine. It wasn't like the over-the-top, like, heel Michael Cole that we got where he would, it was, it felt genuine. Like, Michael Cole was actually, it sounded like he was happy for Pat McAfee. And what came next? I gotta tell you, I was not expecting this, but we all knew the rumors. Everyone, the rumor mill said Pat McAfee versus Mr. McMahon. And we did get that match. Pat McAfee won against Austin Theory, and then he challenged Mr. McMahon to a match himself, and Mr. McMahon took off his suit. He showed that he was jacked, and Mr. McMahon beat Pat McAfee in, well, it was what it was. Then Stone Cold Steve Austin came down to the ring because we all knew that's what the crowd was waiting for. And Austin came out. The pop that he got was incredible for that. And then Austin comes out. I loved how Vince was like, he goes to drink the beer because, Vince said he wanted to drink a beer with Austin. And Vince is like, it's like he's trying to drink it. And then he's like looking at Austin as he's drinking it, like he's like making sure he's not going to stun him, give him a stunner. And then he drinks the beer, Austin kicks him, and then, the worst looking stunner ever. But I think Vince has always taken the stunners, like the worst looking stunners. But I mean, the crowd was hyped for that. Mr. McMahon got another stunner. I mean, it never gets old seeing Austin stun Mr. McMahon. If you're someone like me who grew up in the Attitude Era, watching WWE, watching WCW, I mean, Austin McMahon, it never gets old seeing Austin stun Mr. McMahon. But let's talk about the main event. The most stupendous two-night WrestleMania, greatest WrestleMania match of all time. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. And to begin, let me just say this. To begin, I did not want to see another Brock Roman match. I was like, okay, you know what? Fine. Day one, okay, fine, whatever. As long as Roman and Brock had different opponents for WrestleMania, I didn't care. I was like, okay, fine, I can take one more match between Roman and Brock at day one. But then we know Roman got COVID, and then that kind of screwed everything up. And then that led to the championship unification match for tonight. And to say, again, in the beginning of this, I said, WWE, why can't you put on these shows every week? And when I look at Roman versus Brock tonight, and I literally compare it to 3 years ago at WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans, where the fans were booing it, they did not care for the match. WWE's obsession with this match, it was, the fans were sick of it. They didn't want to see it no more. It was crowning Roman Reigns. And all this stuff, and it was shoving Roman Reigns down everybody's throat. But tonight, what a difference a good storyline did for Brock and Roman. Like, I did not care for this at all in the beginning. When I knew when Brock won the WWE Championship at Elimination Chamber, I said, oh my gosh, please have him lose in Madison Square Garden. Like, I didn't want to see it. And then Cowboy Brock came along. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Oh, okay, I like this Brock Lesnar. I like this Brock. I mean, smiling Brock Lesnar is scary, but yet, for me, I'm like, okay, you're kind of getting, I'm changing my mind a little bit. I mean, there still wasn't a whole lot, but throughout the build, but by the time, the main event started, I was like, you know what? By the time tonight came, I was like, you know what? I really want to see this. And let me say this. The match was good for what it was. It never did reach that second level. At least for me, to where I was waiting for the match to hit that second level, to where I'm going to be like, hey, all right, what's going to happen next? And, there's this point, Roman Reigns, he spears Brock Lesnar through the barricade. They spam their finishers. At one point, Paul Heyman hands Roman Reigns the Universal title. Roman hits Brock with it. 1, 2, Brock kicks out. The match continues. Brock puts in the guillotine, and oh man, is Roman Reigns about to tap? Because he had this on for quite some time, and it did seem like maybe we were going to see Brock tap out Roman Reigns. Roman reaches the ropes with a little help from Paul Heyman, by the way. You might have missed it, but it was a little clever, sneaky, clever move there by WWE and their production team, to where it was zoomed in on Reigns and Lesnar, and whether or not Reigns was going to tap, and you can see barely Heyman reach over and grab Roman's hand to help him grab the rope. Very clever. Roman's there. He's laying on the mat. He's hurt. He's screaming Paul Heyman. He says, my shoulder's out. My shoulder's out. Brock goes for a 5. Brock then, Roman reverses it. Hits him with a spear. That's it. That's WrestleMania. Roman Reigns is now the Universal and WWE Champion. And I'm not fully convinced they're going to really unify these titles. Let me explain why. Because they were harping on the fact that, the winner would leave with both belts. And I feel like this is kind of like a Becky two-belt situation where Roman Reigns is going to kind of be on both shows. And kind of like one of those things where, Roman can drop the WWE title to someone while keeping his longest running Universal Championship reign going, to where they can build someone up and make a star out of someone who can end that streak and end that title reign. But maybe I'm wrong. But hey, I'm even thinking here, maybe they get rid of the Universal title. Maybe they're merging the titles. Roman's going to be the new WWE champion. Maybe they bring back the big gold belt. But that was WrestleMania 38. 2 nights, the most stupendous 2-night WrestleMania in history. It is in the books. What is going to happen on the Raw after Mania, the Raw after SmackDown? We have WrestleMania Backlash next. And WrestleMania is in LA next year. Is Roman Reigns still going to be the champion? And is he going to main event his 7th WrestleMania against his cousin? WrestleMania in Hollywood next year, I would not be surprised. John Cena, you said in an interview, he misses being a full-time WWE superstar. I would not be surprised if WWE tries to get John Cena, The Rock, for next year's WrestleMania. But once again, absolutely incredible. WWE continues to show that they can put on great shows, but they are holding themselves back creatively. I don't know, maybe they need a creative reboot. They need to get some new writers. I don't know. I mean, there's something there where it's like they can put on great shows, but like we saw in these 2 nights of WrestleMania, they can put on a show when they want, but they don't do it every week. And I'm not saying every show needs to be 5-star, 7-star matches, but when you get what I'm saying. From a creative standpoint tonight, for WrestleMania both nights, WWE did not miss a beat. They were on point. It felt like there was no match that really dragged the show down. Every match was insane. It seemed like the crowd was hyped throughout the entire show. I mean, the way the crowd was for Pat McAfee was incredible. That was incredible how loud they were for that match. But, again, I've been your host, Money Mike. I'm going to go get some water for my voice so that I have a voice so I can keep doing videos and uploading to YouTube this week. So, again, leave your comments below. What was your thoughts on the 2-night stupendous WrestleMania in Dallas, Texas? Leave your comments below. And I'll be back later in the week with some more videos once my voice gets better.